One of the greatest things that God does is he doesn't let people who don't have kids know what they're missing.
Damn, dude, we're going deep already. I can tell you I've learned a lot more through podcasts than 4 years at FIU. Sadly. Wow. If I'm going to be away from my daughter and wife, like, is this something I'd be doing no matter what anyways? Mm-hmm. So, like...
Would you cry, dude?
I think I would cry, dude.
Have you ever talked about your DMT experience?
Is this your podcast?
What are you talking about, guy? We're wheeling and dealing here, dude.
How do you define creativity?
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
All right, man.
Yeah. We're here.
So, you're the first guest to come back, dude.
Recurring, dude.
You're the first recurring guest star role, man.
What a privilege.
You were the first guest that sparked the creative club, and now we're in the midst of, I don't know what this is still.
How long ago was that, bro? 2?
Well, that's the funny part is that I felt like that episode was good because it was right before I became a dad. I didn't have a kid. I didn't everything was totally different then. But that was so long ago, dude. So it's like that episode lives in its time, but it's not like really relevant right now.
Yeah,
because my whole mind changed after that. Like after having a kid, and that was like almost right after the pandemic, I think.
In what way did it change though? Because I feel like I told you a little bit, like, yo, this shit is gonna rock you.
Oh yeah, because you don't know until you know. Like, people could tell you as much as they want, but until you like literally, it's literally unexplainable. Like, you don't understand until you have a child what that means.
Is it meaning? Is it?
What do you mean?
Like, does it bring meaning to your life in a way that wasn't there before? Right? It's like, I don't know. Like, I heard Seinfeld was on this dude's podcast, and he was talking about, like, he's like, one of the greatest things that God does is one of the greatest things that God does is he doesn't let people who don't have kids know what they're missing.
Wait, say that one more time.
One of the greatest things that God does is he doesn't let people who don't have kids know what they're missing.
Oh, right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, like you literally can't, like, someone can explain it to you as much as they want, but it's not, it's like a feeling. It's like
it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Legit is wild.
Nah, it's wild, and like, but it's crazy once you have a kid and you have a family, that because now everything that everyone said before and your parents and this just automatically like clicks.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I get it now. Wow, when I was 10 years old, you told me not to do that.
And I don't know if you're at this place yet, because I'm 2 going on 3, right, of kids.
Championship rounds.
But bro, like, there's times where I think about it and I'm like, you know, I'd be able to, I'd have so much more free time, right? And like ability to be creative, right? To do all my shit if I didn't have kids. But then immediately the other side of my brain is like, absolutely not, bro. Like, I would not trade, I just wouldn't trade quote unquote freedom for what they've given me. It's I'm unable to like describe it to anybody. I try and do my best by the way I tell people, like, have kids, because I think one of the things, like, and not everybody, bro, like, it's not meant for everybody. I think like some people shouldn't have kids, but I think, like, dude, there's something that having a kid does to you, man, that is inexplainable, and if you allow it to too, right? Because there's some people who are like, I'm bouncing, bro. Like, especially men, dude.
Bouncing, or like, nah, I'm gonna keep doing like how I function on my own, but with a kid. But it's literally not. It's impossible.
But being a creative, like, how has having a kid impacted that specifically?
Well, it's like, to what you said though. It's sometimes you have those thoughts of like, because obviously naturally you have things going on, and you're like, man, but if I didn't have these responsibilities, I would just be like, but it's that's not really reality, because it's like what you said. I don't think I'd be also on the other side of things. I don't think I'd be functioning at this level if I didn't have a kid. So it's like, yeah, maybe in your head you think there's an alternate reality where you're just like fucking Jeff Bezos because you don't have children, but maybe you will never become what your idea of success is because you didn't have children.
Yeah.
Because your mind never makes that shift. So it's like I like, to answer your question from the beginning, like I think my mindset and what the things I've been able to do are because of that. Because your mind shifts and you're like, wait a minute, like now I have to think a different way. I have to think for other people, and you start to really prioritize like what the fuck you have to do instead of like, oh, I could do everything. Because you kind of don't have that like anchor. You're just like, oh, I could just do whatever I want, but then you do whatever you want.
Yeah,
So
you could fuck off. You play video games. You do.
Yeah, or you just work all the time, which people do. But
that's
then,
true too.
but then that's not. Is that healthy? Is that success? I don't know, but yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah, it's changed like fucking literally everything, bro. Like I don't know how
But
it doesn't.
mostly it sounds like it's changed like how you schedule your time, how you use your time.
Yeah. I think my time, I thought I had like somewhat good time management skills before. But when you have a kid, you're like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, dude. Yeah, it's literally, I mean, I was never really a morning person for a while because of DJing and all that. I would wake up early. It's like 10, 11, like for years. But then slowly I started to shift in the morning. But then when you have a child, it's like you literally have no option, dude. And you got to be awake. It's not like you could just chill.
No.
So like, yeah, my whole time management has been. But I also tell people, especially like friends I have that were DJs or like in the industry, I'm like, damn, actually, and people have told me this, or maybe it's just ourselves like trying to convince ourselves, but it's like, oh, we kind of were training all these years, like having an abnormal sleep schedule and like having to be awake at like this time or up at this time and then going to sleep, but then back up early and then this and that.
Yeah.
That you're kind of like, oh yeah, like I'm just like a little more tired, but I'll sleep when I
With
sleep.
like a baby, yeah.
Yeah. Versus like people that have a traditional 9 to 5 are used to like, I go to sleep at 9, I wake up at 6, and I do that all the time. And like, don't disrupt that.
Do you have things right now that you do that take you away from your kid that you want to take away?
Damn, dude, we're going deep already. I mean, yeah, I think you realize those over time. It could be good things too, you know, that like you have to kind of reassess why you're doing it. But I think I've come to a place where I'm always like doing that now. Like I'm always like thinking, is this either in the moment, like is this podcast worth it? Or long term, like is this thing I'm doing worth it to like be away? So yeah, I think there's always gonna be those things. Like sometimes they're super specific and I know why, and sometimes I like don't know. But I like realize maybe this is or isn't worth my time to be away from my kid and my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, the wives as well, dude. Shout out the wives. We love you guys too. But yeah, bro, that's things that like I grapple with all the time because you know, one thing is you know, spending time away and you know like, okay, I'm doing this because I need to make X amount of money.
Yeah.
And like you have that calculated in your brain, and then there's other things that's like, you know, being a creative sometimes can be a selfish endeavor. Like,
Oh, for sure.
you know, it's like I'm writing a movie. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this or if it's even gonna like see the light of day. So there's a certain time in the creative process where you need to be a little bit selfish of like, I need this time alone. I need to do this. I need to do that. And then I guess as a creative, it's just like, you know, I think before I had kids, it was like, I'll write something and we'll see what happens. It's like, no, now if I'm sacrificing this time, like make it worth it, right? See it through, finish the thing.
No, and I think it's especially challenging, like as a creative or doing like things in the arts, because sometimes it's like you said, like you like, okay, I need to do this because it's not transactional, but it's like if I do this and spend this time, I'm gonna make this amount of money to be able to provide for my family. But then there's some things that don't equate to monetary value, but you're like, I kind of need to do this for the long term. If I believe in this thing, so then that will give a return.
Right.
So it's like, it's not always money, and it's not always like quote unquote like passion or whatever. It's just like, and I think when you get older, you just know, you're like, this is bullshit. or you don't, or like you sit down to do something, you're like, fuck. But that takes time, bro. Like, and then on the other side, bro, there's things I've turned down that are like on paper is like, oh, there's gonna be this many hours for this amount of money to do this. That sounds fucking great, but like, I know I'm not gonna really hate it, and I know I'm not gonna really like it, and it's not really. I think what helps me is that I start to think of things. You gotta make money. It's, we can't just be out here like creativity is everything.
Yeah,
you gotta make money, but I try to always weigh in, like, if I do this thing, like, how is it gonna pay me back more? Whether it's money or like opportunity or relationship or whatever, like, is it actually gonna compound something versus like, I'm just gonna do this thing to do this thing because it's there and I could do it. So like, that's what the type of questions I like have to ask myself every time. But sometimes it's fucking like, when you're younger and you have time, you're just like, yeah, Dallas, you were there.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, this thing, let me see. Okay, man, you're doing like a fucking math equation and like time, hours, this. So, I mean, it's never easy, but I think what helps is like thinking long term. Also, like, sometimes it's easy to be like, you're thinking of like something that might take you away or that's gonna be time consuming or difficult. But it's like the same shit I do with like my health and eating. Like, I don't think of it like right now, today. I think of it like, all right, if I do this today, then like I know in 4 days I'm gonna be good to like be free. Like, this is gonna allow me 3 days versus 1. You're like making exchanges all the time. Like I'm gonna eat bad today, but I know the rest of the 6 days I'm like clean. So like, whatever, who cares? So I kind of like play that math of like weeks and months and like.
So you're like always negotiating with the future almost.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like,
yeah, I'm playing like Tetris with like life.
Wow,
Damn,
Siri didn't understand
like,
what you said.
She liked that bar you dropped.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Always negotiating with the future. Yeah, literally, you're like negotiating with your future self. I've heard that actually. Like, when you make a decision, you think, would your future self agree with you? Like, would that person be like, yeah, bro, thanks? And if when you think about it like that, it helps, because then you're like we always think about that for other people. Like, if I ask you for a favor, I'm like, fuck, I gotta bother him. Like, I know he's busy. This, like, damn, he's probably gonna be like annoyed.
Yeah.
But when it's you, you're just like, yeah, fuck it, bro, I'll do it.
Right.
But you don't think like your future self, when you get to the point that you have to do something, it's probably like, this guy, bro. This guy from 3 weeks ago, myself didn't think of myself, man. So I try to think ahead a little bit. Not so much like thinking of what's going to happen, but just like, all right, I know the next couple of weeks are going to be a little more chill. So let me like go hard right now in this stretch. And like, but everything changes. That's what you find out when you have a kid. You have the perfect plan, and then whoop.
But you like, look, from the outside, dude, I've known you now, I don't know how many years, 15 or something? Something like that.
4, 5, 6, 06. I don't know, math.
Yeah. So I've seen, wow, 06. So then it's been, Yeah, damn, 18. So I've seen like you change your the way you are, obviously just from growth, like from 18 years. But I've seen you do kind of I've seen you change your mindset on things, on how you approach shit. Who do you think, like, in those 18 years, like who are the three people, maybe three, that kind of shaped how you were orienting yourself in the world?
Damn. These are great questions, bro. You should have a podcast.
No small talk coming soon, dude. Go do the talks.
Damn.
And I mean specifically like creatively, like
I mean, I could tell you one off the bat that like I tell people, some people I tell and they're like, yeah, bro, and some people are like, are you serious, dude? But it's the truth, dude. Like Gary V is one of those people that like I just, for whatever reason, time, circumstance, I was living in Vegas, like I was broke, so like I was consuming his content like crazy, and that was when he kind of like really started to like talk about like, yo, you don't have to do this traditional shit. Like if you're passionate about something, or like side hustles or this or that, flipping, blah blah blah. But like I really was consuming a lot of his content that like pushed me into like, all right, like I get it. Like I'm a DJ and I'm pursuing this thing, but like I could do other shit because I just happened to accumulate some skills. Let me just start dabbling to at least make a little extra money, because like a lot of people would, you know, when the traditional thing is you have a side hustle while you're in your job, but I never had a secure job in the first place.
yeah.
So like I had to like find side hustles within essentially a side hustle at the time, because in Vegas I wasn't like making money like that. I had to fly back to make money. So he was definitely one person that just like the timing and the type of content he was putting out, like, you know, at the time just like pushed me to like, yo, like you could do some shit. Like the internet is vast. Like there's people willing to pay for things that maybe you think aren't worth whatever, but somebody thinks it's worth something. So that's one person for sure, like during my like early 20s, mid 20s, that like super influenced me. Two more people. I mean, whew. I'm trying to think. I know there's other ones.
Maybe podcasts. I know Rogan, right? Like,
oh, Rogan for sure. I mean, Rogan on the podcast, just because we were listening to him like Ustream and like literally when he was doing it for fun.
yeah.
But like people laugh, but like if you listen to someone every week for hours and hours, you literally are their boy. like people will probably make fun of me, but if Rogan dies, dude, I'd be sad, bro.
Would you cry, dude?
I think I would cry, dude. Like,
bro, that would be a huge loss, dog. For real.
but not for anything, just because I've literally have heard him every week for like literally maybe 18, 15 years.
Yeah. And it's not just like 1 hour podcast. It's 3 hour podcast.
And imagine like people have shows and people that they listen to, whatever, but eventually it cancels or it runs out or whatever. But this guy's just been talking.
Right. And we've seen him like evolve, right? Because he used to be different.
Yeah, and I think that's another major like public figure that influenced me, because I mean, besides like everything he does, like he is one of those people that does whatever the fuck he wants in some sense, and it's like podcasting, UFC, like all his interests, but he's disciplined as fuck about it.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm just out here like
marijuana.
Yeah, like whatever it is, he's like serious about it, and he's achieved success. So I think that was also like, and then obviously besides him himself, it's just the people he has on his podcast that you start to open up like your brain of like, bro, there's just so much like shit going on in the world that you don't have to like do certain things a certain way. And you literally like not just his podcast, but like you learn, bro. It's like university, dude. I could tell you I've learned a lot more through podcasts than 4 years at FIU. Sadly.
But do you think that's partly you, or is it the institution?
Oh no, it's a little bit of both, but more me, because Also, when you're going to college at 18 years old, you're a kid. Like, I'm just trying to pass. I don't care.
Yeah, you weren't going there to like be like, I want to learn from.
Yeah, and then like you kind of play the game of the system of like trying to pass college to get your degree versus like, how do I learn these things? But I also got lucky that I was just trying to pass, so I picked the easiest major, and I did learn things that I was like interested in. But like actually adaptable skills, I learned on like YouTube podcasts, like, but it's also because then I was older and I was like, oh, I know what I want.
Went searching for it.
Yeah, versus when you go to college at that age, you're just kind of like, all right, like, show me. I don't know. But I mean, I think going to college was definitely also an influence, actually, because I saw some people like go to college and they're like, all right, this is the path. And then they just like take it all the way or get the degree, then go for a job, whatever. But I don't know. I guess I got lucky in a sense where I was just like, no, this is stupid. But I was the circumstance I was in, just luck, and thank God for my parents. I was essentially getting paid to go to college because I had a scholarship and they had the prepaid thing. So I just took it as a learning experience. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna like take all the classes that I want to take. I'm not gonna like kill myself to get like a business degree that I'm not gonna use. So that was kind of like, I used college to the best of my ability to like my benefit.
Yeah.
And learn like about the world and about different views, and like, instead of just like, all right, let me get this degree and like just be studying all the time. And
yeah, that's why I asked you that about whether it's the institution or you, because like, I don't know if you've had this experience, but there's like, now that we're a little older, and we've been years in whatever industry we're in, like sometimes when I try and give advice to younger people, sometimes they're not like, you could tell that their eyes kind of gloss over and they're not really listening, or they have some fucking, which we all probably had, of like some kind of obstacle or like a way of thinking that doesn't allow them to really hear what you're saying. Or they've heard it so many times in a cliche way that they just, oh, that's cliche. But dude, sometimes cliches are cliches because they're the truth, you know?
oh no, 100%.
But I feel like I wish I could go back and do my education stuff, because I feel like there was things that were probably dropped on me like jewels, and that I just fucking shat on them, you know?
Oh, for sure, yeah. No, and when you're that age, you kind of think you know better, but like you literally don't, bro.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You start thinking, that's cliche, that's bullshit, that's corny,
Yeah.
that's what.
But when it's funny, yeah. When you're older, all the cliches are like true. It's like,
yeah, dude.
oh yeah, you just work hard, man.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But yeah, I mean, college is. I mean, we always talk about it on this podcast, but I think it depends on the person, like what you're trying to do, like what your perspective is on it. Like, I don't think it's for everyone, but I also think it's for some people too. I wouldn't take back my college experience because I got a college experience. Like that in itself is something that like people don't get. But I was just lucky that like I was able to like kind of have a college experience, but then like I was like literally doing all the creative shit on the side, but not studying that at all in college. Like I was fucking doing political science and like film study. Well, I guess some of it did help. Some of the courses I took, but
It was like your side chick.
literally, bro.
The creative arts were just side.
But it's funny. No one could know about it. But it kind of was because like I did look at it as a job, dude. Because I was technically if I didn't go and pass, I wouldn't get that money.
Right. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like so I was getting a kickback. So like I had to, number one, go, and number two, pass to keep getting that money. So that was my incentive. Versus like people, which is kind of fucked up because people like were working their ass off to pay their tuition.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like I'm making bread. Sometimes I wouldn't.
Suit and tie and shit, you're showing up.
Sometimes I wouldn't, because the whole thing is you get grants, and then that's the money you keep, but you technically use it for school or whatever else. But sometimes I wouldn't even buy books, dude. I just keep that. And I would like wing it or like figure out like how to get it online or something.
Wow.
But I would, every penny, dude, I would like, nah. Do I really need that book? Nah, fuck it. I'll just fucking figure it out.
A PDF it.
PDF it, bro. But back then, they hadn't figured out the
Yeah, it
internet.
was hard to figure that. Yeah.
That saved me too.
Yeah.
I can't talk about some of
the things
we were involved in, but
dude, on that Rogan note, bro, third eye shit. Have you ever talked about your DMT experience on here?
is this your podcast?
What are you talking about, guy? We're wheeling and dealing here, dude. There's no agenda here, bro.
This is episode 1 of No Small Talk, dude.
No, but dude, it ties into creativity, dog. I feel like it does, right?
I mean, yeah, there you go. That's an influence right there.
Exactly, dude. There's a method to my madness, bro.
I mean, I've told people, obviously.
Nah, but you haven't told the world, dude.
I mean, I don't condone drug usage but that's the thing, bro. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but that's something that's like, it sounds, how do you say, woo woo?
Yeah.
But it's not a drug, bro. It's like literally a medicine. And I guess
woo woo
no, but the best way I can explain it is like, if you have a headache, right, you would take Tylenol to like help that headache go away. But if you just are like, fuck, my head's always like bothering me, like let me just take Tylenol to like prevent a headache or whatever. It's not the same as like your body's telling you like, yeah, man, take that Tylenol. It's going to help. If you know what I'm saying, like,
no.
It's like, it's hard to explain it without sounding like crazy. Like, all right, people smoke weed, right? I can't smoke weed. Like I tried it and I'm just like, it puts me to sleep and I don't like the feeling. But you smoke weed, you drink alcohol, you get an immediate like distortion of reality. Like you're under the influence, right? But this thing is like, just because you take it doesn't mean something's gonna happen. Like,
really though?
Yeah, like it doesn't mean like you consume something and then boom. No, it's like you have to almost be in the right place, the right setting. You have to be, your mind has to be open to like, why are you doing this? Are you doing it? You know, they say like, if you do it, it's not a recreational drug. Like, if you do it to have fun, you're not gonna get what you're supposed to out of it. But yeah, like I literally can't explain it.
Okay, but explain your experience with it. So you were where were you, dude?
I mean, I don't want to give too much details, but the thing about it too is that it's not like you just go and be like, oh, I'm gonna go ask my boy for weed.
Yeah.
It's, bro, like it's almost impossible to come across.
What the fuck are we talking about here?
So what's crazy is that it was just like, you know, you hear about it, you talk, and you start to like research it, and you're like, man, but that sounds interesting. And then obviously that was a time where I was contemplating moving to Vegas, and I was like freaking out about it.
Oh, you hadn't moved yet?
I hadn't moved yet. I was about to, but I'm like, bro, I don't know, this and that. So then me and one of my buddies are like, we kept just talking about this thing, like, yo, you heard about this? And we were just like exchanging stories and like, man, that'd be crazy if we could try it or whatever. Because he was also like going through something that he wanted to like, you know, but we weren't like, you don't just Google it to like find it.
Yeah.
So we were just like, whatever, like maybe one day it'll be cool, you know, that'd be like a bucket list, whatever. But it just so happened that I ran into someone that I trusted and knew at the most random time and place during that time. And he brought it up to me. Like, yo, have you ever heard of this thing?
Oh my God. It's like.
And I was like, what? Dude, I've been like thinking about it and talking about it. And he's like, yeah, bro, I just went on this trip to wherever. And like, I was able to bring some back. You know, it's like really hard to bring back because it's like highly illegal.
Yeah.
he's like, if you ever like, want to do that, I'd be more than happy to like help you through that, like on some guidance, because you can't just like do that.
Yeah,
you can't just
need
like
somebody
and
there to.
yeah, and also like it's a certain way to do it. Like you can't just swallow it. Like it's
Got it.
this whole protocol to like actually do it. So it literally just like, I don't want to say the universe aligned, but it kind of just did.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let me know next week. I'll be here and we can. And
Wow.
and then it just like, we had the plays.
Were you scared, dude?
Of course, bro.
You were, right?
Yeah. But the thing, and keep in mind, like I've never done anything. Like I was at like level 1, like I smoked weed a couple times and then that's it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I just skipped
Haven't done the
all,
hard, yeah.
never any hallucinogens or any of that stuff. So I just went all the way to the top floor. But yeah, like it's bro, it's just hard to describe. It's like the best explanation I've ever heard is like, it's like a million little yous just working on you, on your whole body. Like everything that you think that you're like, oh, like I'm worried about this or what about this? It's like, are you dumb, bro?
Like it's not a big deal. Or...
It's not a big deal. And literally the message I got was, because I was very...
Are you dumb, bro? That was a message.
I was very scared and worried about moving cross country and like, was it the right thing to do, whatever. And literally it was like, bro, you're like, you live in this one world that like there's land everywhere. People have been like migrating and walking for thousands, millions of years. Like you're not that serious, bro. Like you're not that important. Like you could just go pick up and be like 2,000 miles somewhere else, but you're still here. Like, and if you want, you could go back. Like,
yeah.
Like don't be a bitch. Essentially, go try it and see what's up. And then I was like, oh, but then it's not just like, it's a whole picture that's painted, and it's like it's
a visual experience.
Yeah. So I think that sometimes I forget about that, but I think that definitely, quote unquote, opened my eyes of like,
bro, but
like you can, like the world it's literally like there's things that live in our mind or that live elsewhere that we don't see, but sometimes we just think we're the player one of like this whole world, and like everyone's looking at you, and every decision you make is like the world is dependent on it. Like the game might end because you did something wrong, but it's really not that serious.
So it took the pressure off of you of feeling like this is, yes, it's a big decision you're making, but it's not the end of the world. You can always come back. You can always Have you thought about doing it again?
I did a while ago, but I think having a kid was like another trip, like mental, because that is kind of what it does.
That's a good point. Yeah,
it shifts your whole mind.
Right.
And going back to what I was saying, like it only works in the better sense of the word if it's something that you're like needing to do. If you're just doing it because like, oh, that was fun that one time, let me do it again, like it's not the same, I think.
Yeah, you need you're either in a transition in your life, or you have a
you have to be like
battling.
you have to be like open to like you can't be closed off, because it's like if you were trying to go through a door and they're like, yo, nah, bro, you're not ready. You're like, you're doing this for the wrong reasons, man. Come back another time. And then when you're finally like, bro, just whatever, it's like, all right, man, here you go. All the answers you wanted. But I mean, that's like, not to get like religious, but that's like some God shit.
It is, yeah. And what's wild about what you said was I forget about that shit. Like the human mind, dude, that we just like, we have these epiphanies, we have these fucking insane moments that happen in your life. and that when you think back, you're like, holy fuck, that's right, that happened, or this, that, or the other, and then we just forget about it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
It is. Like, I literally forgot about that.
But then at the same time,
that
you're
was
like,
probably,
it changed everything.
Yeah, literally. Or even, like, you know, when you moved to New York, I'm sure that literally, like, I'm sure you don't forget about it, but, like, you lived there for a long time. That literally changed your whole, how you are as a person.
Yes. And that's why I say that it's wild, because you almost have to remind yourself, I was that motherfucker who did that. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes, you know, it keeps coming up in your life. Like, you're going to have other fucking things that you are worried about taking a risk on, or you're like, I don't know if I can do that, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, we forget, like, this of what we've done before, what we've learned already. We got to keep relearning the shit.
Nah, and it's good to remember, bro, because I actually do think about when I did move a lot, because you don't think about it at the time. You're just worried about, like, oh, I want to go move cross country to, like, pursue DJing, like, and you're just worried about, like, that world. But you're not thinking that, like, 10 years later, you're gonna be like, bro, but, like, I was there by myself, like, broke, and, like, I came up, like, I faced the difficulty, and, like, I didn't just fold. Like, good things came out of it. So then, like, it does give you a same with, like, New York. Like, you were broke as fuck, living in, like, a piece of shit apartment.
Wow, dude.
The first one was pretty, but it was like you almost had to, like, live in that grimy not even one bedroom. It was just 4 walls.
The one, just making it worse. The one picture I have of that apartment is one where, like, I have these little penguin, like, it's so odd, dude. I have, like, the air mattress, and then I have like a penguin cover on it. So I'm gonna send that to Polly so you can insert it here. Boom.
But yeah, like, but like, those experiences are like almost like priceless, because when you think back, you're like, bro, if I did that at, like, 20 something, imagine what I could do now.
Well, yeah.
Like, at this age, knowing what I know now, with a kid, that, like, a family I'm supporting, like imagine I was just, like, broke and hungry, like, in my room on my computer trying to figure shit out. Imagine now, and, like, like, you could always rebuild, is what I'm saying. Like, I think that, like, also dropped the fear of, like, oh, if it doesn't work out, like, whatever, you just start all over, like, or you do something else or whatever. But I think if you don't take that risk, you never have that, like, fearlessness of, like, yeah, I'll just fucking do it like this now,
and I can always come back. Yeah.
Like, yeah, if I did it that one time that I was, like, an idiot, imagine now that, like, I read some books and listened to Rogan.
Yeah, the DMT, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if we're keeping that in, bro. I don't know.
What are you talking
Nah,
about, bro? We have to,
good.
dude.
That was good.
And it deals with creativity, bro. It ties back into
Nah,
it.
but it really does, because it, like, people like to use, especially, like, weed, that's like to create, like, bro, I just need to smoke and, like, get in my vibe, dude. And I guess maybe for some people that works, but, like, I think if you have an experience or something that just opens your mind to, like, bro, this is, like, living is crazy. Then you're, like, literally open to, like, that is a form of, like, your creativity, like, out in the wild, I guess. Like, yo, why not try this or try that, or, like, start painting, or, like, I just saw this crazy thing in my mind. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Do you sense, or do you have this feeling that, like, creativity sometimes is a feeling? Like, do you ever have, you know, like, the Spider-Man is probably a dumb reference, but, like, that Spidey sense shit, like.
No, I think it's a little bit of everything. I think 100% that it's, like, a feeling, or, like, a moment that you're just, like,
yeah,
kind of like a flow state thing too, where you're just like, bro, I just know I need to do this.
Yeah, but it comes out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like sometimes you try to, like, always chase that dragon of, like, all right, today I'm gonna, like, do that, but like you can't force it.
Yeah.
But it's just sometimes something takes you where you're like, okay, like this idea just came, like how Emilio was saying on that other episode of like, he had that idea of the hawk tua, and then now he's in the grocery store, and then he finds the bottle, and then all right, I guess I'll like take it a step further. Now I'm making the design. All right, now I have a shirt. Now I have a bottle. Now I have a thing, and now we're here, and I have a full product. Like fuck it,
Yeah.
because it just like takes over your mind. But then I think there is times where like you have to not like set yourself up for that, but like be consistent where it'll happen more often.
Yeah,
Than
you gotta
just
show
like
up.
waiting for that little vibe of creativity. But yeah, sometimes it's just like that fire that you're like, fuck, this is like, I don't like, which is crazy because sometimes you get like busy on things you have to work on and projects and people and this and that. And you're always like, nah, I'll put that later or I'll do that later. But then when that moment strikes, you're like, I don't give a fuck about anything. Like, I'll just do this right now.
Yeah.
So it's always like, why can't I just always do that?
I know.
But like, it's hard, dude. But that's like that dragon everyone's always chasing. That you just like, I don't care about this or that. That person can wait. Is right now. This is what's calling me.
Yeah, I guess like the marijuana for the people that do it to like tap into that creativity, because I know like Rogan does it. He talks about he gets high and then writes. But
I mean, that's for some people it works. Like for me, it's like I need to have a nice cup of coffee like that I just made to like.
Oh, is that your shit?
Get in a vibe, and then maybe it'll happen, but at least I'm like, all right, like now I'm in this mode. I made the coffee. It's hot. Like let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But I think different people have different like methods but I think there is something to like having something.
Yeah, that a gateway in.
Yeah, like I think it's Rick Rubin that talks about that.
Oh, yeah.
Like having not a ritual, but like, all right, like I'm gonna go work in this desk that has like a little plan, and I have my screen and my mouse and my coffee, and like here we go. Like I'm in the zone. I'm in the setting.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I've been places where I think, like, I just got to, like, go to a coffee shop real quick to get some things done. But then there's, like, mad people, and it's kind of, like, whatever. But then it's just, like, that coffee shop's just the zone that day.
Wow.
It's just, like, it works. So, I don't know.
When you get out of the zone, are you a little bit, like... Because I don't know, like, when I've done work in fucking public places, and then... I can, it's rare because I like to do my shit alone, but I can go into a zone, and then when I come out of it, I'm a little bit like, I don't know, like now I'm like looking at my surrounding, I'm like, oh fuck, was that person like looking at me just fucking like,
well,
I don't know, I get self-conscious, you know?
No, I definitely like, there's something about being by yourself and in your thing, because you're not even like thinking about outside judgment or like someone looking at your screen or like how you're writing on a paper. You're just like by yourself. I think that's the best for anything. But like there is something about, I mean, sometimes it gets repetitive, bro, and you gotta like change it up.
Yeah.
But there is something about going somewhere is different. Like, and I think that's something I learned coming here. It's like there's a different type of like creative energy where like you go somewhere to get work done versus that you go somewhere to like collaborate, because you almost can't do both at the same time. Like there's too much going on.
Yeah.
But then if you go somewhere, like that's why I like going to different coffee shops. Number one, because I love coffee, but number two, because everyone's going to get in their zone. So it's like public, but everyone's in their little box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I wonder what that guy's fucking focusing in on there, like just zoned in. And then that girl over there has like a Zoom call on this and that, and she's like locked in. And then that guy's has a pen and paper, and so everyone's like not bothering anyone, but they're all there like doing their own little thing. So you're kind of like, all right, like, you know, when you go work out and then someone's like lifting some heavy shit, you're like, damn, I gotta like lift.
Yeah.
I gotta lift pretty good here. I'm gonna look whack.
Yeah, I can't be a bitch here.
Exactly. So I think, yes, that's why I just switch it up, bro, because I get like, I can't be in one place every day for too long.
Yeah. What is it about this that we're doing, dude? Because you mentioned it a little there, like coming here and being around other creatives. Like, how has that affected you, or what is it about it that we are circling back to what we spoke about earlier, like investing time in something that not necessarily has any monetary value at the moment. I mean, it could, right? And we're building something, but at the moment, it's really like we're investing in the future of what it could be, but then also in what it brings to us in the present. I think that's super important. It's like one thing is you get sold on the vision of the future of the thing, but it's not giving you shit at the moment. That doesn't last as long, right? Because you lose kind of like
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know if you could talk a little bit about that, like how being here and amongst different artists has affected your creativity.
I think it goes back to like what we were just saying. Like for a long time, I like to just like work by myself and like be in my zone and like no outside distractions. So I kind of, but there is, I think for a long time I was like, oh, like you could be creative in like your work and doing what you're doing. But there is that element of just human nature of like being around people that are like doing certain things that like rubs off on you. And that does spark more creativity, because then you're like, sometimes you get in your own head, and then you're around people that are like, oh, bro, but why don't you just do this? Or like, oh, you could do it like this. Or like they just give you an idea because they're able to like think about what you're doing because you guys are in the same space collaborating. So I think it was something that like I had kind of either put off or didn't, like I thought I didn't really need. Like, yo, I'm just locked in. Like I'm just productive.
Yeah.
But I think you do need like a community / like collaborative space, and not even like a physical space. Like, but I mean, that also helps that we have this actual space that's been like crazy. But just that like space of people that like either push you or like make you see things different. Because we don't like, I mean, that's what I like about what we're doing here is like we all have opinions, and now we're at the age where just like, nah, that's whack, bro. or like really, dude, come on, bro. So like, whereas before, that's why, and we've talked about it, where like if we had this like even 5 years ago, it'd be completely different.
Yeah.
So it's like the right time for me especially, but I think for everyone involved, of like coming together to like do something cool. And also like the reward is, I do see the long-term reward, but I do see the immediate reward of like everyone in their own way is like getting opportunities from the things that we're doing here together, whether it's directly or indirectly. So like it might not have a huge dollar amount to it, but like we are seeing like the effects of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I was just locked in my room working on this thing, and like, yeah, I'll take a phone call with someone to like discuss something, but like,
yeah, no.
And it's also all things that we're like really passionate about. So that's like the formula that's like been working, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also like anything that comes up now in your creative life, you can, if you want to, filter it through this community / space / minds, right? Because I'm even thinking about that. Like, okay, at the moment, I have certain projects that I'm like getting ready to do, or that I'm working on, that is still a solitary thing at the moment. But then when the time comes to open it up to the public, I have an immediate group of people that I can first show it to.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, like, tell me the temperature of this. Like, is it whatever? Oh, this, that, or the other. And like you said, we are in like places in our lives where like we check each other sometimes on shit, whether it's like, hey, you're overthinking that, or, you're putting too much pressure on that, or that sucks, or, whatever. Or that's dope, and then like pointing like, yeah, that's dope. Keep doing that. that all of that for me at the moment is like an immediate like thing where I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. Yeah, I can come up with these projects and then have these people see it first, and then be able to take from what they're saying about it and then rework it and then show it to the public, you know?
Nah, and even like it opens your mind even more because there's some things that like sometimes I just have ideas that I'm like, oh, that'd be dope, but like I'll probably have like nothing really to contribute to it or that involves me, but like the idea doesn't just have to sit in my brain. Like I'll either tell someone or think of someone to do it, but like it's like your ideas don't get trapped. Like I really think like if there's something dope that we come up with, we can execute it.
Yeah.
So it's like that's like fun. It's almost like I gotta like tape down my ideas sometimes because I'm like, oh, I know we could do that. So like what about this? What about that? Whatever. So it's like the possibilities is also the benefit or the, I guess to answer your question, like the reward of being a part of it, of like bro, we could, whatever thing that we come up with is like, if we want to do it, obviously, and it's not like $1 million budget or whatever, it's like we can in reality do it.
Yeah. And even that $1 million budget one, you know,
Right.
like I think
there's a road to it.
Yeah, there's a road to it, dude. There's a road to it. And I think the more we can continue to kind of coexist as a collective of people, we're going to learn where that money can come in. Like who are those people that, because there's people out there that want to fund shit, bro. Like,
Oh, for sure.
it's their own way of being creative. It's like, okay, I have this money. Like, how can I invest in projects that speak to me? So
Yeah, and I think like, especially in Miami, like everyone wants, like you could do something like this, but everyone wants to turn a dollar. So it's like, how do you maximize revenue for what you're doing? And I mean, we've even had like conversations where we have to figure out like, is it worth doing that? Is it worth doing this? But I think when you think of it like more in the long term, the macro versus like, how do we make money? So it's like a business and like we're making the most money is also like a skill in itself, like the patience.
yeah,
Because somebody, and it's not easy, like, because, you know, it's not like this is all just free 99.
right.
But there's people that like just want to make $1, and there's people that have like a vision of like, oh, like that money's gonna come. It's just like, how do we position it to come the way we want it to? So like, I think that's the unique thing about this space or this group or whatever this is.
Yeah. I was speaking to, I'm not going to mention her name, but Miami personality person, been around for a long time. And she was talking to me about like the different challenges that she's had with doing certain projects and things that she wants to do. And dude, it kind of, it flips some shit in my mind because sometimes we see these people that are like doing things and we're like, oh, maybe I don't approach this person about coming on board on this because like they're not going to want it, you know? And it's not necessarily the case. Like, it's almost like when you're in high school and the hottest girl in school is like, nobody has asked her to the fucking
Right.
prom because everyone's like, she's taken already, or
Yeah.
somebody for sure asked her. It's the idea of that. It's like, sometimes there's other creatives out there that they might be kind of like seeing what we're doing and kind of like might want to partake in it. And we shouldn't close ourselves off, I guess is what I'm saying, to anybody, bro. It doesn't matter how kind of like we think they might be, you know, too big of a thing on their own that they don't want to do something with us. But that also excites me, and Adrian's great at this, is like scouting talent. Like,
Yeah.
Now we have a place where like, holy fuck, like that person. But let me tell you, was that I did their podcast, and I remember meeting them, Ish and Darian, and I was like, man, these guys, like, they have an audio podcast, but in person they're fucking hilarious. They're characters. And I told them in that first pod, that was like 3 years ago, I told them, dude, you guys need to do a visual component to this, because it's a no-brainer. Like, you guys it'll be a hit with that. And they were like, yeah. But again, if there's no production, like, where are we gonna shoot it all the time? Who's gonna be editing this shit? Who's gonna be doing? But now bringing them on here, I'm like, holy fuck, like, yeah, dude. If you see somebody out there that's like, that has the potential to do some shit, we can also bring them in and be like, hey, we can foster your talent here, you know?
Yeah. No, and that's also what's been super cool too. It's like bringing people in that they might not even like forget about having a space or anything. They're just like, yeah, bro, like, how am I gonna shoot a podcast? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or like literally, even my wife this Sunday, like, she always wants to do a film or this or that, and for her it's always been like her doing it on her own. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, me helping however I can, but like having people like that like, oh, you want to shoot a scene, like, let's do it. Like, it's not that much of a mission, like, because some people have it in their head that's built up, like, how am I gonna do that, and then who's gonna edit it, and then this and that, and then like, bro, never mind, like, I'll do that like in 2 years. Whereas like, bro, like, you're fucking dope, why don't you just come here and like we'll figure it out, and like, just like come play, essentially. And then I think that's like what you're saying, like scouting that talent of like, yeah, like they don't know the outside stuff, but they have something that like is unique, and like it could be something cool if they just like, hone it and target to the right area. So I think that's super cool too, like being able to help people. Yeah. Like have them come through and they're like, bro, I didn't even like know I could do this.
Bro, yeah. Adrian, who to the people watching is the artist who did these, but then also he's got his art all over our studio, and it was his studio before, and then he let us in, and then he became part of the crew. He started working with Un Podcast a lo Marlin. Like, that guy was just a guy that I don't know how they exactly met, or if he had already started it, if Robert from Un Podcast had already started it. But Adrian basically like was encouraging him and kind of giving him certain contacts that he had at the Marlins, etc. Jump to a few months later, we move into the space. We start converting the space into an actual production studio and like a podcast thing and that whole thing. And now this guy has a video podcast. And he's fucking, dude, he's crushing it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers are wild, bro. And he's he's really good at it.
No, because he loves it.
He loves it, dude. He loves it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, even like that podcast is like literally the most furthest away from this podcast.
Yeah.
But being around him, and it's Spanish only, and like my Spanish sucks. And it's about baseball. I hate baseball. Like... But bro, watching him work and how he's been doing, and like his drive is like inspired me. Like, damn, this guy's here every fucking week and putting out clips the next day, and I can't even get one podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, being around, like, yo, he's very passionate about the Marlins and baseball, and he talks about it in a way that's like unique to him.
Yeah.
But then you see that and you're like, oh, like, I love talking about this shit and creativity. Like, this is what like I like, so it's the same thing but different. But being around that energy is like, oh, okay, like I like, yeah, I could do this too. Like, he's doing it, you're doing it, we're doing it. Like, it's doable. But it goes back to what you were saying. Like, it's because he loves the Marlins and because he's like truly passionate and obsessed about baseball that he would do it no matter what.
Right.
So that's right. Like I guess the key in all of this, like just going back to like the first 10 minutes of this is like, if I'm gonna be away from my daughter and wife, like, is this something I'd be doing no matter what, anyways?
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I'm gonna do it because I love this shit. So
Beautiful, dude.
is that we're done?
I don't know, dude. If you have more questions, dog.
Nah, I mean that was. I think I don't know. Is it your podcast or my podcast?
I don't know, dude. This might be episode 1 of Small Talk, dude.
But it was a good one, dude. Yeah, I don't know if you got any
Parting words.
parting words. Is oh yeah, I mean, stay tuned for. I mean, it's not really the premiere of Creative Club, but the official launch of Creative Club on Cultura Talks YouTube. It's been dope to be in this space. It's definitely made the pod way, way better and accessible to people. So
Yeah.
thank you to the team for that. And yeah, man, thank you for coming in or for sitting down, I guess, because
Hell
you
yeah,
were
dude.
you were already here.
Yeah, brother. We're doing it. It's happening, dog. It's all happening.
It's all happening, bro. I guess we're out then.
Peace.
Peace.